Now to some potential hopeful news in the fight against coronavirus. The Food and Drug Administration in the USA has authorized the drug Remdesivir for emergency use in the treatment of COVID-19. Now, scientists at the University of Alberta in Canada have shown the antiviral drug is highly effective. Let's find out more from one of the doctors at the university who made this discovery. Joining us live from Edmonton in Canada is Dr. Matthias Goethe. He's the chair of the Department of Medical Microbiology and Immunology. Thank you very much, Doctor, for joining us. Now, Remdesivir is used in Ebola. How did you discover that it might be effective in treating COVID-19?
Yeah, so Remdesivir was developed as an Ebola drug after the West Africa 2014 Ebola outbreak. And Gilead, CDC, NIH, and a couple of others, a large consortium, came up discovering and developing Remdesivir as an Ebola drug. It was tested last year in the DRC outbreak also, and there was an antiviral effect against Ebola. However, two other treatments were better. So the attention of this drug Remdesivir went to other viruses. And at that point in time, so 2-3 years ago, it was clear that Remdesivir shows a broader spectrum of activity. So not only against Ebola virus, but also against coronaviruses. So it was tested against SARS and MERS in animal models and in tissue culture, but it was not really clear how it exactly works. So this is where our research came in, and we looked first of all against other coronaviruses like MERS, how it actually works. And then later on, we studied also the SARS coronavirus 2 that causes COVID-19. And in essence, what we have shown is the drug targets the engine of the virus, so a very important enzyme. And if this enzyme is targeted, the virus cannot replicate anymore and cannot spread anymore. This is, in essence, what happens.
So it kind of tricks the virus in a way, is that correct?
It does. The engine, so to speak, needs gas, and Remdesivir provides diesel. So if that ever happened to you, you know that you can roll on a couple of more meters, kilometers, and eventually the car stalls. And that's exactly what happened with the virus also. Yeah.
So am I correct that it's been used for humans in the treatment of Ebola, the treatment of MERS, but not yet for humans who've got COVID-19? Is that correct?
So again, it was used in a clinical trial in humans to assess treatments against Ebola. So that was last year in the summer of last year, 2019. It was tested in animals against SARS and MERS, and as of February 2020, it was assessed in clinical trials, in various clinical trials in humans against COVID-19, so SARS coronavirus 2.
So what's the next step? I see that the FDA has authorized it but hasn't approved it. Is there a difference? Tell us what that means actually.
Yeah, so basically what happened is the first waves of clinical trials the data are evaluated, and Wednesday last week the United States government and Tony Fauci, the top advisor in ID questions to the government, made the announcement of an NIH trial with Remdesivir, and the result of that trial was the big result was really that there's a reduction in the time of recovery if you compare Remdesivir and placebo. So from 15 days to 11 days on average. So that is a very significant number. And based on that, and of course the study results, the FDA granted the emergency use authority. That's a difference to a formal approval that requires more data, more studies, and that will be evaluated in the coming months and maybe even years, I assume.
So has it actually been used for COVID-19 in an emergency situation as yet?
Oh yes, there were. That basically started in February in the so-called compassionate use program by Gilead. So basically, the company that developed Remdesivir gave it out upon request all over the world, actually, and the company mentioned that more than 1,000 people were treated under this program worldwide. And there was even a study published on this treatment. We have to say this study, though, is not a randomized trial like the one that I just cited. Yet, clearly the drug has been used in these trials and in the compassionate program in humans.
So what's the next step for this drug? I mean, we know that COVID-19, for most people, it's a mild infection, but then there's a percentage of people who get a really severe reaction, and we're still trying to understand exactly what COVID-19 does to the immune system and does to the body and how it interacts with the body. This sounds potentially life-saving. How soon before it becomes sort of widespread and available, and at what point would you use it for a patient?
Yeah, these are very good questions. So first of all, as a result of the clinical NIH trial that I just cited, the trial was changed immediately. So now the standard of care is not anymore the arm that contains placebo. The standard of care is right now Remdesivir. So any future treatment will be compared against the efficacy and safety of Remdesivir in this particular clinical trial design. So that is one consequence. And as far as Remdesivir, I'm sure that the data, and there are many other clinical trials we are still waiting for results, will be analyzed in great detail, and this will be the basis for any further approval in the United States or in any other country as well.
And I have to ask, is it going to become available in South Africa?
We don't know at this point very clearly. I mean, we're asking the same questions actually here in Canada as well, right? The only thing we know at this point is that Gilead donated 1 million doses or so to the United States government, and they are now distributing the drug to those who are in need within the United States. And I assume that every country needs to go to the regulatory processes and apply eventually for the use of the drug, and then one can see whether it's available or not.
Well, I have to say congratulations. What an incredible achievement, bringing such hope for the treatment of people desperately ill with COVID-19. Thank you for your time. That was Dr. Matthias Goethe from the University of Alberta in Canada, part of the team that discovered that the Ebola drug Remdesivir could assist in treating critically ill COVID-19 patients.